Right, hello everybody and welcome to another Thursday Thinks. Well, today is all about how, yes, I do have horses, but no, I don't watch the equestrian Olympic sports. Hello everybody, my name's Marianne and I'm the founder of Naturally Willa, which is a source of information about how to heal a horse mind, body and soul naturally. So as I said, today is all about the Olympics. Now, the Olympics are everywhere at the moment. It's on, isn't it? And people are watching it and they're having a great time. And there's so many new sports included this year, like your skateboarding, your BMX, and we're doing so well. And it's just really great to watch. But oh, a bit dark in that one. Hang on a minute, I'm a bit dark in my Facebook feed. That help? Yay! Hello, people. Right. So let me know in the comments below if you've been watching the Olympics this year, what you've been watching and what you've enjoyed watching, and we'll have a chat. But obviously my focus is on the horses. So I've been asked, this is one of Nellie's subjects again. Hi Nellie, I hope you're enjoying this, or if you watch it on replay, let me know. But she asked me, so you have horses, did you watch the Olympics? Did you watch the equine Olympics? Because obviously it's been on in the past few days, weren't they? And she was quite surprised. Now, it's not the first time I've had this where people have said, oh, you have horses. Did you watch the dressage? Did you watch the eventing? Did you watch the show jumping? And most years they say no. And it does surprise people because I don't know if they're just trying to find a topic of subject to have a conversation about, or they think that just because I have horses that I should be watching it. Now, if you've been with ooh, excuse me, if you've been with me for a while, you know that I have some quite strong opinions about horses' mental state, physical state, emotional state, and I'm not entirely sure that those are all taken into account when a horse goes to the Olympics. Now, my grandmother was of the opinion that when they go to Olympics, the riders use different horses and they use the national country's horses, which is wrong. The horses are usually transported over months in advance because travelling that far on a plane, most horses don't even go on a plane. It can be quite a stressful thing for them to go through, and then having them to settle into wherever they've got to. They're in a different country, it's different weather, different environments, different sounds, people are speaking different languages. It can be quite a shock to their system. So in that, I'm really glad of that they take them that early, that they've got them working in those environments, that they get used to where they are, they get used to where they're going to be working, getting used to exercising in different temperatures, especially when it's been like it was last time where it was Rio, this year is Tokyo. So it's warmer weather than good old where England, which is currently peeing down because that's England. So in that, I'm really glad. But what is the impact on these horses though, mentally, emotionally, in going on those journeys? Now, I know that obviously when it comes to sport that's that high up, the veterinary care is immaculate, and I would never ever say a word against it. People are doing the best they can, in the field that they're in. They're the best people in those fields to do the job, which is awesome. That's what you want, the best people caring for horses that higher level. Not to say that horses at any level shouldn't be receiving that level of care, they should. But obviously Olympic level athletes, whether they're horses or people, are closely monitored, which is great. But the equestrian sports are the only sports in the Olympics where there are animals involved. And some of them are very old sports, especially when it comes to like the dressage, where the people involved are older. The Olympic athletes who are the dressage riders are usually of an older generation. I mean, you've got Charlotte Desjardins, who has just got bronze in for her dressage on Geo, and she's 54, and it's not unheard of to have people in the equestrian world in the Olympics who are of the older generations, or older generations, I'd say, than myself, because I'm only 31. But you've got like people who are doing like the BMX and skateboarding who are what, 13, 14. So it boggles the mind. So if you think of it that way, the people involved are more mature. They've been around horses for so much longer. They've been involved in the care of the horses over a longer period of time. So my thought is that the care of the horses is really immaculate, or I'd hope it is. Now, I do know that some countries have different views on animals, different views on how to care for different animals, and my way of doing things is often considered weird in a lot of places, in a lot of countries, which, never mind, I'm happy to be labelled weird, but it can make me quite opinionated. So when I see, for example, the show jumping, and the riders have got quite severe bits sometimes, or quite severe equipment on their horses, it makes me wonder what type of person is in control. Now, they might be the most amazing person ever, and that horse just has a slight quirk, so they do need X, Y, Z, or they haven't figured out how to get the horse out of doing X, Y, Z. That's fair enough. But from an outside point of view, from doing the things that I do, the way that I do, it makes me judgmental, which means I don't entirely enjoy sometimes watching these things. But at the same time, when you think, though, that when you've got who was it? In the last Olympics, in the Rio Olympics, there was a Dutch dressage rider called Adelinde, and she quit the Olympics just minutes into the dressage event because her horse Parzival fell ill the night before. He'd been bitten by something like a spider or an insect, something that had produced a toxin, and his body was reacting badly to it. Now, the night before, when they'd found it, the vets did blood tests, fluids, everything it could to help the horse, and that's absolutely amazing. And the swelling went down, and they were like, yeah, he can go, he'll be fine. And the rider went into the arena, did a single lap, did possibly a few manoeuvres, and went, no, that's it, I'm done. Because her horse wasn't in the right place, because he wasn't feeling right. And that is absolutely amazing to me. That is what I love to hear, because they've taken the horse into account. They've taken the horse's mentality, because how many people would have just gone, I'm at the Olympics, we need to do this, as we've got to wait another 4 years, or all this time that's gone into all this energy, all this money, you're going to do it. But to go and turn around and go, the horse isn't right, I'm done, that gives me hope for the future. It gives me hope that what is going to happen over the next 3, 4, 5 Olympics, maybe the horse's mental state, emotional state, is going to be considered more often. Now, I do know that my mother was reading me an article this morning saying that one of the British riders, I believe, was saying that he was honoured to be riding one of these horses in, I can't remember what event it was, and he was saying, this horse is absolutely amazing, I'm so honoured to ride him, and if anything goes wrong, it'll be my fault, not the horse. Now, I love that mentality. I love it, because these animals, these horses, are so highly trained that errors are generally human errors. And a horse only does what it's asked to do if it's been trained to do it in the right way. So all these errors that you see happening, how much is it actually down to the rider? These horses are so highly trained that it can't be anything less than human error if something goes wrong. So I loved it when he said, if anything goes wrong, it's my fault. I'm like, yes. That combined with Adeline in the last Olympics going, no, my horse isn't right, I'm done. That's amazing, because the horse was 19 years old. It would, I don't believe it's come back to this Olympics as well. So she was done with that horse for that. So the horse is now retired. Now, if you also look though at, we go back to Charlotte Desjardins. She rode Valegro in the last two Olympics, so the 2012 and 2016. And she did so well on that horse. He's now retired. But what does that mean? What happens to a horse when it's retired from dressage? Now, if you're in racing, it usually means it goes to stud or whatever. I'm not sure what's happened to Valegro, but this year Charlotte is on Gio, and she's got bronze medal with him, and his nickname is Pumpkin, and I absolutely love these little tidbits that come out. But what do we know about the mental state of the horse? And is it just Charlotte that's working with this horse? Probably not. How many people actually are interacting with Pumpkin or Gio? How many people are interacting with Valegro in the past too? I don't know. And that might be something that I would find really interesting to consider. Now, I keep my horses in the paddock pouch track system, and that is great for the mind, body and soul. It gets them interacting with the world, gets natural movement, which keeps their muscle tone as they're naturally supposed to be in that time of life that they're in. I mean, the major, you wouldn't, he's striding around like he owns the place. Whereas a few years ago, he could barely stumble about because of his arthritis. But I wonder if there are any dressage horses out there, especially high level ones, that are kept in a similar way, in a way that is best for them, mind, body and soul. How many are stabled? How many are just chucked up in a field? Now, I know that, as we've said, their bodies are cared for really, really well, and really well balanced with feed and exercise, and the vets are monitoring them probably more than the rider. But what about the mental state? Are the horses mentally getting or emotionally getting what they need? And I would love in the future to work with like a dressage yard or a racing yard and see what the impact is of having their horses on a paddock paradise track system, how their bodies would change, how their interactions with the world would change, and how differently they would be in their individual sports. Now, I know from having the major, I know he's an older gentleman, but the impact of him being on the track system in a place where he feels as though he can be himself, he feels safe, he's got herd mates that are constant, he's got people that care for him that are constant. His confidence has gone through the roof, and his movement has changed. He's more active. How would that change for a high-end horse, a dressage horse that's worth more than my house? So I really do wonder what the impact would be. Now, that would be a dream of mine, to work with an Olympic team or a high-end dressage team or show jumping team or whatever, and see what the impact is of having horses on a paddock paradise track system or similar, to see whether the change in their emotional state, the security that it adds, the change that it might have in their bodies, how it impacts them in the sport. But it may be something that we never figure out. But I'd love for it to happen. But going forward, it'll be interesting to see what it's like at all of the Olympics to come. Whether we start to see more riders who are going, no, my horse isn't in the right place. Or, yeah, okay, something went wonky, but that's my fault. Because these dressage riders are so fit, and they have to be, because even a minute twitch of a muscle can mean something totally different to these horses. And, you know, a shift of a weight from one side of the horse to the other can make them go from trot to canter, or go from a extended trot to almost a halt. You know, there are so many little minute things that happen within the body that can mean so many different things. And how much can you control every aspect of your body? Now, I know these riders are incredibly fit and they have to know their bodies, and they have to know that if I accidentally twitch that muscle, I'll end up doing a pirouette or something. But yeah, so no, I don't watch the Olympic sports because I do get a little too judgmental about the equipment that's on some of these horses and the emotional state of the horses that I can see going around. Some of them, though, are having a whirl of a time, and that makes me happy. But the ones that aren't makes me sad. So, if any of you have any questions, let me know. Oh, hey, I have missed you. Oh yes, Ben Maher on, was it Explosive W? That was the guy who said, what was it? Said that it was the horse's fault if anything went wrong. Thanks for that. So, yeah. Any questions, let me know. I will be here and will be happy to answer them. But that's my chat input, shall I say, on the Olympics. And obviously, if I did a load of research, I could give you probably, I'd find out so much about the yards and what they do and what they don't. But at the moment, those are my thoughts on the Olympics and why I don't generally watch it. But I do know that the equine Olympics team has got 5 medals at the moment, which is absolutely amazing. I'm really, really happy. We always do so well in the equestrian sports, which is absolutely awesome. I think we've got 2 golds, 1 silver, and 2 bronzes at the moment. Obviously, one of those bronzes is Charlotte Desjardins. My tongue's not working. But I hope that if you are watching that you're enjoying the Olympics, and if you're not, celebrating the wins anyway. It's great for the country and great for awareness of sports. So that's me for this week. This is obviously a live event that is shared on Instagram as well. And it will be going up on YouTube in a couple of weeks' time. Obviously, there's a YouTube channel, so go check that out. There's so many videos over there. I think I've got about 65 of them at the moment. So check it out. Go subscribe, join the Facebook group, like the Facebook page, and check us out on Instagram. And I will see you all next week. Thank you, everybody. Bye.